Welcome back to the Road to Ourcast Podcast, a podcast where we talk to other podcasters and creators around the world and talk to them about the crazy, amazing things that they're doing, that they're creating, that they're inventing, that they're playing with, that they're making careers out of. Charlie, how are you?
I'm great. How are you?
I'm good. You're the guest today.
I'm not used to being in the guest role.
Yeah. Just click a link on the internet and ended up right here in this room, so we can record.
It wasn't a phishing email. It was just I thought I was reporting to phishing or whatever that is.
Mm-hmm. About your warranty, you were supposed to click there and find out about your warranty. You ended up here.
Yeah.
Now you're
talking.
Yeah.
They're trying to reach me about my warranty. Yeah. Good thing I had it all set up and ready to go.
Right. By the way, what kind of microphone are you using there? What is that? That's a...
I use a Samsung G-Track Pro.
Not Samsung, but Samson.
Yeah, Samson.
Yeah. Okay. Interesting.
I recently said that at a pod circle meeting, and there was other podcasters there, and they were like, I don't know what that is. And I was like, oh, okay, it's the one I use.
Yeah, I've never heard of that brand. Interesting. Okay. Very cool. Did somebody sell you that on the street, or you got it from a store?
No. Originally, when I was looking at starting a podcast, I knew someone who was a musician, and they had just released an album, and they said, this is the one I recorded my album on. You should get this one. And I said, okay.
Oh, nice. Yeah, it looks fancy. I mean, you got a green light. Anytime you have a green light, LED on it, you're going to have something of quality.
I know, right? The green light turns red whenever I'm talking too loud. So.
Oh, nice. It's like, turn it down.
Yeah, tone it down. Cool. If only life gave us a red light sometimes.
Yeah, no, that would be super useful. Every time I'm about to go off in a comment section on somebody, because I'm sick of comment sections because it's just so negative, and I'm like, why are you here comment? It's like, oh yeah, this defeats the purpose if I'm getting onto somebody else that's commenting negativity, and I'm trying, you're canceling yourself out.
Perpetuating a cycle, red light.
Yeah. And like, oh, this is how it works. This is how the dominoes fall, and this is how humanity becomes a stricken planet where aliens have to come and take us over.
I'm here for it.
Yeah, we're ready for it. Listeners, if you're not familiar with the Road to Ourcast, of course, this is the podcast that is put out by the Ourcast Podcast Collaborative, a nonprofit organization for podcasters, and we create this show so that we can highlight some of the creators from around the world, some of our partners and people that we work with, and people that we're inspired by, but all leading up to our annual podcast festival. It's called Ourcast, Arkast. A cutesy little name that incorporates the name of our state that we're in, but also the podcasting part, right? So several dates across several different venues across the state, all through the latter half of the year. You can find all of those at arkansaspodcasters.org. Also, you can find us on Instagram, Facebook, and what's the other one? LinkedIn. Or Threads, actually. We're using Threads a lot more lately. So
I have not gotten into Threads at this point in
Threads
my life.
is awesome. It will, you have such a better chance of reaching somebody that you want to talk to on Threads than you do on any other platforms, because it's still kind of fresh and there's not advertising yet. It will inevitably get there because it is owned by Meta. We already know. But yeah, you can just do, like, there's a thing called, I don't know what it's called, but anyways, you can put like podcast threads, right? So you put podcast threads in there, and it's kind of like a hashtag, but it works differently in that it will show up in the feed of anybody who's interested in podcasts. And so, like, yeah, it's really, really cool. And then you get like so many more connections off of that, and like it's easy to gain traction and get more followers. Kind
of like Reddit, and a hashtag had a baby. It sounds like.
Yeah, and it's not spammy, which is good. People are just honestly asking questions or talking about something that they did and want to celebrate it. So it's like, yeah, it's not just, hey, I make podcasts and this is a thing you should do.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I'm famous for saying, hey, I make a podcast and you should too.
Well, yeah, you have to get the word out. But I mean, like, Threads is a little different in that it's more of I would say it's a creator collaboration tool, okay? If we're going to get marketing about it. When Facebook and Instagram and LinkedIn are usually about shouting, hey, here's a thing I created, go watch it, listen to it, consume it, let me know. And also, here's some links where you can pay me some money.
Yes.
Yes, because we have to have those.
I think that is one thing about podcasting is that at least all the podcasters I've met, they're not like putting their stuff behind paywalls or like it's not gatekeeping. We don't gatekeep anything. We're just like, this is how we did it and we love it and we want you to do it too. And that's what I've learned about podcasters, and that's one of the parts of the podcasting community that I really love.
Oh yeah, for sure. Yeah, me too. Anywhere, I've gone several places you already know. But anyway, when I went to LA, that was such a weird, and I don't know if it's like exclusive just because I went there for a podcasting conference, but like the podcasting industry itself is so giving. That's what I love about it, is that it is, like you said, no gatekeeping. There's just, freely giving of information. Everybody wants to collaborate. Everybody wants to help out. You don't even have to pitch them on it. You can just tell them what you do. They'll be like, oh, you know what we do? And this is how we connect. And also, hey, I've got some ideas if you were just open to hear it. But yeah, that was the opposite of what I expected of going to LA, because it was my first time there. And I was like, I've seen the movies, and this is my only touchstone of what LA people are like. And plus in Arkansas, because Arkansas has an opinion of everywhere else, like collectively as a as a population, right? Even though most of these people have moved here from California and all over the world, you know what I mean? But like all of a sudden, they are lifelong Arkansans, and nobody else does it like them. Stay out of our state. This is our natural state, and blah, 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 blah. We don't do it like the people in California. It's like, you're from California. What are you talking about? But anyways, I guess that impression left, something on me where I was like, oh, it's going to be like everybody's out for themselves, and it's going to be kind of rude. They're going to try to step on me, if I'm kind to people. But it's like, oh, no, this is the exact opposite. This is awesome. I love this.
Well, it's probably helpful that you went to a podcasting conference in LA, so you were already around those people who the culture is like, friendly, nice, let's share, let's do all these cool things. Do you want to come on my podcast? I'll come on your podcast. Like kind of a thing.
It definitely changed tones when I stepped out of that hotel. Yeah.
What do you mean?
Yeah, just so much. Yeah, it's wild. Different tone shift. But anyway, that's a different thing. Like my cup? I'm having a problem with it because I want it to be on camera, but the problem is that I hold it with my right hand because I'm right-handed, right?
Mm-hmm. Oh, but the face is on the other side.
The face is on the left. It's a left-handed mug, but they didn't have a right-handed mug for me. And I didn't realize that was a thing even.
Maybe.
Well, maybe it into frame.
It says "bite me." Oh, that's cute.
Yeah. For the listeners, it's a big ceramic mug that says "bite me" on the black mug, but then there's like blood pouring out of the top of it. So it's my vampire coffee cup.
Lovely. Well, I think it is a right-handed mug because you look at the "bite me" every time.
Yeah, but there's not like a delicious snack I can have. I guess I could do like that thing that people are doing with their Stanley cups, where they have those. You've seen those rings that they put around the top of the straw. There's like a snack box on top of it. What if we did that with coffee? Where there's just like little like donut holes over here.
Yeah.
And, you know what I mean?
That sounds delicious. I'm in.
Yeah, maybe some croissant pieces.
There's your $1 million idea, Ty.
That's my $1 million idea. I knew it kind of be one day. So you are a podcast host yourself.
Yes, I am.
All right. Tell us about that podcast.
So my podcast is Saturday Night Sleepover. It is somewhat vibes of like how we've been just talking back and forth and having a conversation, except for usually my guests are they are like this season I have returning guests that come on, and they're my friends, and we just have a conversation about whatever's going on in our lives. And one of my goals with my podcast is I know that being an adult and figuring out how to make friends as an adult is a running challenge for a lot of people. And so I am a self-proclaimed like really good friend. And so since I know that about myself, I wanted to make a place on the internet where people who are experiencing loneliness can go and have somebody or like participate in a third person of a conversation between two people where like they can fold their laundry and like not feel so lonely. And so that is one of the like pillars of why I do my podcast. And so kind of it also interweaves itself into be like what my podcast is about. So like anything that you would have a conversation with a good friend over the phone about is like usually what we talk about. So we could talk about anything from like what you're watching on Netflix to conspiracy theories and UFOs and whatever. Like anything you would hear at a sleepover is at my podcast, or like it's in part of my content. So Saturday Night Sleepover is my name. You can find me anywhere.
That's your name?
Well, the name of the podcast, the name of my branding, I guess. My name is Charlie, but yes.
My name is Charlie. I don't think we ever introduced you. Yeah, Charlie Bradshaw.
Oh, hi. Yes, I'm Charlie Bradshaw. I'm the host of the Saturday Night Sleepover podcast.
Nice.
One thing that is, I was going to say one more thing about my podcast. One thing that is super unique about it is that I don't do any editing. And so it's like pure, genuine, and that's like one of the core values is like zero editing. Like I want this to be like exactly how it is, so it feels very genuine and natural. So
very cool, awesome. Do you have a co-host, or is it just a rotating cast of characters that you're talking to?
Rotating cast of characters. I started out season 1 with a co-host, and then she needed to do different things. It was too much for her, so second season is like I was getting a new guest every week, and that was like way too much for me to take on, like on top of working full time and doing all the other things I do in my life. But if my podcast was my main gig, I would be able. That was a really fun way to do it, and I loved it because I could hear all these different kinds of voices and perspectives, and I loved that. But then to make it more manageable for myself, I just have 4 rotating guests that have different perspectives, and they're just my friends from throughout my life. The different venues. Like one of them is, I met her at the podcast conference last year. Her name's Caitlin, and her podcast is the Wellness Podcast.
Yeah, we love Caitlin.
Yeah, she's awesome, but she's a regular guest on mine, and we talk about Northwest Arkansas stuff sometimes, and then other things other times. She's also, so her store is like a non-toxic refillery, so we get to talk about some hippie stuff sometimes, and it's a lot of fun.
Nice. Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah, we love Caitlin. Like I said, that's really cool that you guys have collected together in one pod of awesomeness.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, it's all thanks to you, really, because you're the brainchild of the Ourcast movement. So.
Brainchild of the Ourcast movement. Yeah. Yeah, I made something that was going to be fun, and hopefully it's still fun. Hopefully it continues to be fun. And, I mean, we're going on our 3rd year now. But, yeah, last year you messaged me out of nowhere on Instagram and I don't even remember. You were talking about, like, sponsorship or something like that?
Okay, so I am in the event world by trade. And so I know that, like, every conference you have typically wants, like, I wanted to sponsor something small that it was attainable for me to be able to like sponsor. So I was like, I'll be creative and see if there's a way that like every conference needs lanyards. So I was like, I could afford to do some personalized lanyards and donate them to the conference. Yeah. And so I was like, all right, I have these tickets for this conference. I'm going to look it up and do the research. And then I shoot my shot, and you let me shoot my shot.
That was awesome. And everybody was wearing Saturday Sleepover lanyards that event. So
yes, they were bright pink.
Yes, they were bright pink.
They should be.
Of course, they show up better at night. No, that's awesome. So yeah, you're definitely in the event world, event planning world. So I'm not. Even though this is our 3rd year, I take the same stance for it as I always have, which is just. I don't know, like you're shooting your shot, right? So you miss all the ones that you don't take, and that's just my whole philosophy towards anything. So went out there, try to act like I know what I'm doing. I approach people and be like, hey, we're making this thing. You want to come be part of it? and like there's been a really great response for a lot of people. So like this year's got a pretty stacked event for Fayetteville, in November 14th through the 16th. And so I'm really excited that we have such really awesome people. I mean, like the right people that have not only like creating really good art and they're really in touch with the podcast industry, but they're like really good people. Like I know them personally, and they're really good people. But coming down from Colorado and California and Texas, and we've got some that are pending about to be moving to your area because Walmart did that big. I always wanted to call it a recall because I'm like, Walmart did a recall. No, Walmart has gone outside, taken the huge Viking horn that they own outside of their store, and they've blown into it to call all the ships forward to their stores so that everybody has to move to Bentonville. If you're working for Walmart, like you've got to go to one of their two main headquarters. Of course, Bentonville, Arkansas being one of the main ones. And so, anyways, a lot of people are actually moving there because either they worked for Walmart in some way, or their husband did, or their family for some reason. So like your area, your neck of the woods is really growing in the podcasting industry, which is awesome. And luckily, we already had I think the whole thing is just fortuitous. You know what I mean? Like we saw an opportunity, but I had no idea that we were actually preparing for anything, or that the dominoes were going to fall the way that they did, so that we have such a strong podcasting community and creators and the people that are backing us up. And like there's people that are just fans of what we do, and we are fans of what they do, and we just help each other out, which is incredible. I'm gonna say this much. I like living where I live, right? I like this area right here. But if I was to ever move anywhere else in Arkansas, it would definitely be the Northwest. I don't know. It's such a different thing. We're seeing that even reflected in the in the Ourcast events of like who's registering for these events. Like Northwest still two months away, and like those tickets are flying off the shelf. And then like the Little Rock ones, people are still kind of timid about it, kind of timid about being a creator, and it's so strange that you can be not that far apart, but still so different and distant when it comes to skills and just your community and how it operates.
Yeah, well, we were just talking about this kind of because I was throwing out ideas on different marketing tactics for the Ourcast down south, and you were like, that's not going to work down here. And I was like, I guess all my ideas are just for up here.
No, they really are.
It's interesting that it's like we're only a few hours apart, but the culture is vastly different, it seems like to me.
Yeah. No, it's they're vastly different. You got some really great ideas, and I think that those things will all work in Northwest. But here, they're very, very different. It's kind of strange. I don't know if that reflects, in other states that are. I mean, we're kind of a small state, right? But I wonder if like other states have that same thing. If there's like a more artistic part of the state that it's so different from the rest of it, or like even like the larger states. I'm sure that exists, right? Because that's such a huge swath of land, like. NorCal and South Cal. They're two very different types of places.
Well, I've lived in a few different states, and I can say that it's like dialect differences, like there's just a little bit of a different way that people approach things based on like what their everyday is like. And a lot of different things can play into that, whether it's like even terrain of what you're looking out at your window every day, or the kinds of people you have in your community. It's all different things that influence. It's interesting how people work.
Yeah, for sure. I think I don't know. I think we are all in some way or one or another. We are all a product of our environment, and so like what you surround yourself with and what you take in, like it permeates and it influences you. Whether you know it or not, whether you realize it or not. If you see 15 billboards when you drive to work every day, and they're all about I don't know, like we get the corporate ones here, right? So we've got like this dentist office, this dentist office, this dentist office, this dentist office, attorney, attorney, dentist office, and it's like, okay, great. How many dentists
Everybody
do we need?
needs to have really great teeth.
Wow, yeah. But then I go to the Northwest, and there are a lot of signs of like a lot of really artistic, events that are coming up, and that are doing like all the concerts that are going on, all the music things that are going on, all the the cafes that have some event going on. So like it's so different. Not to say that it's impossible for anybody to do anything wherever they are, but yeah, it definitely helps whenever you have a community that is so supportive and provides opportunities. If the opportunities are there, it's easy to take them up on, but like when they're not, you kind of have to create them yourself. And so we're trying to do that. We're trying to create more opportunities for people, especially in this area, to be like, hey, break out of your shell, break away from what you think and come learn. Come collaborate, come learn. And so there is a really good, strong base here of people that show up to like the meetups, and they go to every Ourcast event that we have. So yeah, it's interesting. It's just I didn't mean to run off on a tangent about all that stuff.
No, I love it. I love it.
I'm glad that we have you here now. So. And as an event planner, you know that, because like you don't just do Bentonville or Fayetteville events. Like you do events all across the whole area.
Yes. So I'm just immersed in that world, and like one of the things that I have been doing is I have been doing the Pod Circle events, which has been a lot of fun for me to like organize those, because it's not just podcasters, it's also like any kind of content creators. Like you're welcome and invited to those kinds of events, and we all just like share with each other, and it's been really cool because like I feel like every time that we have a couple of returners, but every time there's new faces that I get to see, and I'm like, this what is sorry.
You're good. You're getting buzzed on the phone, and I've got my French press right here that I'm pouring an extra cup here.
I am not used to being able to edit. Anyway, it's
okay. We'll leave all this madness and chaos in there anyway.
Yes. Okay. That's fine with me.
There we go.
Anyway, there we are. Leave it all in. That's what I do. Is like if anything crazy comes up, even if it's embarrassing, I'm like, okay, well, we have to put it out. Anyway, So yes, I've been doing pod circles, and those have been really fun because I've got to connect with all different kinds of people, and even sometimes get people on my show that I would have never like connected with otherwise. And so I think that's a thing that we both have in common that we've been doing both in like Northwest and in Central Arkansas, is we both have those meetups that we do that I think are a really cool thing to do. So if you have nothing to do on a fourth Thursday night, we're typically at the Fayetteville Public Library reception room. Yeah.
And more people I tell about, I didn't tell you this yet, but when I went to DC for this latest podcast movement, I was talking to people about the podcast meetups and stuff that we have. So I've met several different other states that do this as well. So Butter and Blythe are down there, and they have something called the JPU, which is the Jacksonville, what does it stand for? Jacksonville Podcasters United, I believe it is. Sorry, don't kill me if I got that wrong. But yeah, they have a podcast meetup down there because Buzzsprout's headquarters is in Jacksonville, Florida. And they host their meetups down there at the headquarters of Buzzsprout. And now they've grown so large that they're having to reach out somewhere else, which is great. Houston, Texas, there's another group out of there. Then I talked to them. I'm going to be actually hosting a couple of different meetups. One of them is I'm a guest speaker. Sorry, I'm not hosting. I'm going to be a guest speaker. Thank you. Yes, for the California and San Francisco podcasters meetup, which is coming up. They do a monthly thing every time. So I'm going to just be coming in on Zoom. But yeah, that's really cool that there's so many meetups that are regularly doing this. And I think it's the podcast industry itself. I think that's how we're going to have to do this in order for it to continuously grow, is to show ongoing support. And these types of communities that get together and they collaborate, but they do it on a regular basis, where it's not just once a year we get together and we talk about this thing, and then the rest of the year it's just nobody knows each other.
Yeah.
It doesn't work that way. So yeah, I love that there's so many different types of things. We have our membership for people that when we operate sort of like a chamber of commerce, for podcasters. But while I was at DC, there was a 501c6 that was they had these little cards that were placed everywhere, all over the tables. And what that is like a nonprofit organization that is a membership, more like an actual traditional
that's typically
chamber of commerce.
What
Right.
the chambers file under.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And so I haven't dug into it too much, but then there's of course the podcast academies of the TPA, which I'm a member of, and on their marketing team as well. So like there's so many different organizations and groups that you can join, and it helps just help you get tapped into so many other podcasters. And so it's really cool that there's so many different things that are coming along, and we're trying to keep this part of the United States afloat and up to times so that we can collaborate.
Well, that's one cool thing about podcasting is it's natively global. So, like, it's anyone in the world can listen to you at any time, and that's just how it is always. And so, I think a lot of our media before, you had to be in a specific place to make it. Like, you had to either be in New York or Las Vegas, Los Angeles, one of the, like, entertainment cities to be able to be an entertainer to like make it, and that's just not the case with podcasting. It is an entertainment form, and you can do it from your closet in one of the flyover states. Like, it doesn't, your geography does not impact your successfulness in this medium like it does others.
Oh, that's quotable. You should put that on a t-shirt.
Hey,
or a hat, like you got one. No, yeah, I think of that all the time. It's like, growing up, I idolized movies and filmmaking and all that, right? So, but like, you hear all these stories about like really successful actors, and even like Sylvester Stallone and people like that, right? That there's so many stories. I mean, his story is not wholly original or unique because so many other actors did it too. But they give up everything. They sell everything that they have, what little they have, just so they can go rent like the smallest, tiniest apartment in Los Angeles they can possibly find, and just pray to all the gods that they get a role in a commercial for Ozempic or something. You know what I mean?
Yeah, right.
Right. And then work their way up in the industry and try to get movie roles and that stuff, supporting cast. And so but they give up everything, and those are just the ones that it works for. There are others that have done the exact same thing and it doesn't pan out, and they end up having to do something else. So like, we don't have to do that anymore when it comes to like, if your desire is entertaining, if you think that your spot in the world is in front of a camera or a microphone, like, you can do that from your home, like your home closet. That's where I'm at right now.
Exactly.
So I just set this up. I'm pretty proud of it. And so it's a nice little step up when I'm not in the actual studio. To be able to just come in here and record whatever I want to. So
I've been noticing that trend, that there's been like a colored light behind people, and it makes you just look so much cooler, and I don't have that. I just have lights in the front that don't make my picture look orange.
This one's really cool. Somebody gave me this one for Christmas that I've got back here. I don't know, for like listeners, you're like, what are you talking about? But it's a light that it's a sort of a tube that it's kind of wavy, and it rolls around on a spindle. And so like, I can change it. You can see a little bit better.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah. But like the different, you see how it's sort of waving in the back? You can tell it better when it's a lighter color.
I can see when it more like different now.
Yeah, because of the ring light in front of me, like it's hard to see as much, but like
That's cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, this
Anyways.
This picture behind me, I just got it because I wanted something to break up, but I got it at like Habitat for Humanity for $15.
Hey, there you go. Find your art where you can. Yeah, for sure. You could also, for that, like, you can get a cheap frame and a canvas and some acrylic paints and just splatter some stuff on a canvas if you'd like, and just frame that and put it behind you. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Very cool. Yeah. So anyways, I was so you do this Sleepover podcast, And I was gonna do a thing where we were gonna play a game. You were gonna guess it.
I would love it. This is the kind of thing I do all the time.
Where we're going to talk about, some famous sleepovers. Turns out there's not that many movies or books with the name Sleepover in it. Mm-hmm. Or actual events that were sleepovers. But I did find some other actual events that are pretty interesting types of sleepovers, and I don't know if you're aware of these or not.
Okay.
So starting with, so Chelsea Clinton, I guess she started, and I know we're not going to get super political. We're not going to get
No, it's fine. I'm fine with whatever.
But this is a human being. So Chelsea Clinton started the White House sleepovers. Have you ever heard about these?
Oh, no, but I did watch the President's Daughter on the Disney Channel growing up, and I just thought that was one of my favorite movies ever.
Oh, what?
Did you ever watch the made-for-TV Disney movies?
We're different ages. We're very different ages, and I didn't know, and I did not see that. No.
Well, listen. Okay, so if you were I'm not that much younger than you. I'm 33.
Okay, there's a 5-year difference.
Yeah, if you had a little sibling, you could have get sucked into the 13th Year or Smart House or those are the more well-known ones. But there was one called My Date with the President's Daughter.
What?
And it was
I never even heard of this one. I've heard of Smart House and those other ones. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. So there was a lot. Okay. I grew up in a pretty religious household. We weren't able to watch whatever we wanted, but we could watch the made-for-TV Disney movies. That was allowed. Anyway.
Your religion wasn't Cult of Manson or anything like that, right?
No.
Okay.
No.
All right. That's interesting. So what happened in the show? Was it an actual sleepover that they recorded? It was what do they call it? Reality TV or?
I just was saying that reminded me of that movie, not that it was
it's
actually
a movie.
Chelsea.
Okay, got you.
Yeah, it was My Date with the President's Daughter, but it was probably a cultural phenomenon that was spurred off of her having sleepovers
They're
at the White
that's
House.
a good idea for a show. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Awesome. No, she used to have sleepovers, and they were so they were at the White House, and then they were themed. Each one of them had a different. It says that these the events were unique experiences that for her friends that got to stay in one of the most famous houses in the world. But each one of them had a different theme and a different experience. Every time, it wasn't just hey, come over, we're gonna get in our pajamas and eat some popcorn, watch some movies, and talk about life, and pass out whenever we're too full. It was experiences that they were creating there.
That's cute. I love it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Thinking about mocking it. Thinking about creating. Something like that?
Well, actually, that is one of my goals for the podcast, is to have a real life sleepover where all the listeners come and we rent a house or a hotel or something and do fun sleepover games, and because you don't get that vibe as a grown up anymore, and I think it's playful and fun, and I wish that I could create it in real life, so I'm going to. Fine, I'll just make it myself.
Yeah, do it yourself. Yeah, you know what I've learned in life? That's what you got to do. You can't just wait for other people to make stuff. It's if you gotta have a good idea, go make it yourself. Mm-hmm. Okay, so there's those, and then of course Sasha and Malia, I think her name was. It was the Obama's
Malia.
daughters.
Yeah.
I don't think I've ever seen her name spelled, so I'm questioning everything about life and how I pronounce things.
I'm pretty sure it's Malia.
They did the same thing. So Chelsea started it, and then the next set of daughters that were there in the White House, they started another little sleepover thing, and now it's this is big. And I was thinking we need to get Charlie. We need to get Charlie invited to one of these sleepovers at the White House. Okay.
All right. I think my which candidate has a daughter that's my age?
That's what I'm thinking now. But I was reading down the list, and apparently, so it started with Chelsea Clinton, then it went to the Obama's daughters, and then there was something called the Girls of the White House Sleepover, and that's when Michelle Obama invited several daughters of former presidents in the White House. Blah 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 blah.
That's legit.
Yeah, so Jenna Bush and Barbara Bush, Chelsea Clinton, so other women that were daughters of people that had some connection to the White House, they were invited. But I think we're making an organic move into hosting a sleepover at the White House
Okay.
We get the host of, Saturday Night Sleepover to be invited, you know what I mean, to be part of this. Of course, you do an episode there, you do some recording. Yeah, for sure.
Exactly. And I'm a natural pick for it because I already used to live and work in Washington, D.C., literally right down the street from the White House.
Did you really?
Yeah, I did. I worked at a hotel down the street from the White House. That's where I got some of my event and backstage event experience when I was first starting my career. I worked at a hotel next to the White House doing like mic lines and lighting and stuff for different events that were going on there, like press release meetings and galas and stuff like that. It was pretty cool. But yeah. So I'm already I just made that point to be like, hey, I'm already a natural fit.
Yeah.
I already, those are my stomping grounds. I basically already know how to get there.
Events, location. Yeah, of course. I mean, like, surely you know how to get there. I just experienced my first time going to DC, a podcast movement. You know that, but like, just got back from there. That was my first time ever in DC. So, like, I spent a whole week where like it was DC, but it was National Harbor. So we were at a resort in National Harbor doing the podcast movement there. I was staying in an apartment across the Potomac. Is that how you pronounce it? Potomac. Okay, I never know which way. I'm telling you, my pronunciation, like I question everything.
No, it's okay. We used to tease it because I lived off of the Potomac growing up, and we used to call it the Potomac. So
Potomac. Potomacopolis. Anyways, across the river, and I was staying in an apartment building there in the actual Arlington. So, or actually, it was Alexandria.
Alexandria, right?
Yeah. So I was staying there because I wanted to see more of the city while I was there. You know what I mean? Get full experience. And so I was just taking Lyft rides, back and forth across the river over to the resort. And then on the last day I was there, wanted to spend that whole day doing all the touristy type of stuff. And so, of course, rode all the metro buses and the rails, you know what I mean? All this stuff. And, after a while, so I went to Lincoln Memorial, of course, the reflecting pool, the war, what else we would call it, the memorial.
There's a bunch of different war memorials there.
Stuff. Yeah, and then like after a while, like it all just sort of like blended in to each other because it's all built out of the same type of materials, very similar architecture, and I'm like, I don't even know where I'm at anymore, and like but I was looking for a particular type of monument, a statue, that's not one of the famous ones that everybody's looking for. It was a copy of a different one it was how do you put this? It was a
facsimile,
kind of another statue that was created for a cemetery memorial, right? Okay, so anyways, to explain this statue to you, so it was built a very, very long time ago, okay, and it's of this woman that has, like, she's sort of, like, sitting with her shoulders pushed forward and, like, her head down, and she's in a robe, and then there's, like, this hood that comes down off the side of her, but you can still see her face on the inside. It's very creepy looking, very old and weathered and creepy looking.
I like it.
And the eyes are, like, open, but there's no pupil or iris or anything like that, so it looks like they could be closed or opened at the same time. And so the challenge is you're supposed to find the statue, and you're supposed to find it at night, and you're supposed to stare at the face until you see her open her eyes at you.
Did you do it?
I tried to find it, and I couldn't find it. And so, like, I went to the where it was supposed to be located, which was the Holly Madison. That's like Ashley Madison. I just watched that.
I started that one. I didn't finish it.
Oh, did you watch that? Yeah, the documentary about Ashley Madison. Yeah, we watched that recently. So now I'm like always questioning about it's Holly, whatever that name is. Anyways, there's an old house that's been there, since like I think the 1800s. And anyways, it's inside one of those houses. But there was a part in where it was supposed to be was inside this building, and there was like an atrium, but I couldn't get past there because there was a security clearance, and it's for people that are federal workers only. And I was like, oh no. that was like the one main thing I wanted to come see. But I couldn't get back there because I didn't have clearance for it. And I was like, this is crazy. So it's not open for public view that I could tell. I wanted to go find that creepy statue, but I didn't. Wow. Anyway, so I walked around and saw all the other statues and got kind of bored of that. And then I walked through. I was like, well, I'm just going to break off and go to see some other things. I saw that they had an AMC theater with laser projection. And so I'm always a tech nerd when it comes to like movies and stuff. So laser projection and Dolby Surround and all that stuff. And I was like, okay, well, I'm just going to walk through Georgetown and get there. And so that's what I did, is walk through Georgetown. Man, that was some of the most beautiful, parts of a city that I've ever seen. Yeah. I love those old houses that have like, there's doors on every level, right? But also there's almost every house also has like a sub level with like an entrance from the street that goes down some steps into like what looks like a basement, but there's a door down there. Oh man, yeah, I was loving it.
I miss, like, I don't know why humans got away from making cool looking things, but that's one of my favorite things to do. When I lived in DC on my day off, I would just go and get lost and see whatever there was to see, and I always felt super safe there. Like, it could be 3 a.m. and you would be walking around and it would be still like not scary. Like, my shift ended at 11 o'clock at night most of the time because I had to take the last metro home, and there was only a few times like taking the metro at 11 o'clock at night as like a young female that I felt scared.
Really?
But for the most part, I felt super safe in that city.
Yeah, so. I was amazed by I guess just the diversity. I didn't expect it. Like, I knew that there was going to be a little bit more than I'm used to, but like the diversity that was there, absolutely insane. Like I was almost a minority there, and I was like, this is different. This is a weird, different feeling, but I love it. And like, like everybody had some sort of accent, and it wasn't from the South or the North or anything. It was like from a completely different country. You know what I mean? It's so crazy. But like, they're the ones that are operating the whole city. Like, I mean, everything from bus drivers to the people that are operating the counters at the movie theater when I went in. You know what I mean? And so. They're absolutely everywhere. But I walked up to the National Zoo. And then I went to the National Zoo for the day, and then walked through that. That was awesome.
I was going to give you that suggestion when you were talking to me about it. I was like, oh, is zoo too much of a kid thing? I don't know. No. But the zoo is really cool. Like, and it's free to go to. You just walk in, and it's fun. And that part of town is also like a pretty, I guess maybe diverse part of town too. So.
Yeah, there's definitely a different feel. Like, there was a completely different feel from down where I was in Alexandria to the heart around the Capitol, all the different things. We have people selling everything from face paint to hot dogs and all kinds of random weird stuff, and beads to pray for world peace and stuff. And then walking through, there was a pier that went around where all the water taxis are, and then going up through Georgetown, and then going up through, like, there was just like a random nature trail that I had to walk through from Georgetown to the National Zoo. And it was called like it was some sort of like wildlife reservation that they had set up, but like the pass was going through. On Google Maps it said it was Lover's Lane, and I was like, oh, this is going to get really weird. But I went through and I was like, oh no, this actually looks a lot like Arkansas's trails where we walk through. Yeah, well,
because isn't that the one where they have like the exposed rock like Arkansas has? There's like some. Maybe I'm thinking of a different trail.
I mean, it just looks like walking through the woods like it is here. Like, I do that so much. We're just hiking, up through, trying to think of a touchstone you might know. But anyways, like Emerald Park or, Pinnacle Mountain or something like that, the wooded parts. It looked just like that. And I was like, this is weird. It just felt like there was just like cross-stitching, sort of patchwork, sort of pieces of different parts of the country, and they're all just like sewn together, and like you can step off of one piece of material and walk into another one with seamlessly, and it's so weird how it's just yeah.
Well, I'm from Virginia, and my husband's from Utah, so I always say Arkansas is like a perfect Virginia-Utah baby.
So okay, I've never been to Utah, so. Well,
it's different than all the other places we've talked about in this podcast. But there's some parts of Utah that are like really tall mountains and like snow and some trees and city kind of vibe. And then down in southern Utah, there's like, it's more similar to what you would expect like Phoenix or Las Vegas terrain to be like. And so it's like a huge, and I feel like when you're looking at a map of America, it's like everything is super small on the East Coast, and then it gets bigger and bigger and bigger, and it's just like such a huge state that like people who grow up in like smaller states, you just don't have an idea of like how big and how vast and how different one end of the state is from another.
Yeah. That's interesting. Yeah, the only thing I know about Utah is like the plateaus. Isn't that where they have plateaus in Utah?
I mean, yeah, there's plateaus there.
Mesas,
Yeah.
mesas and plateaus.
Yeah, there was one that was near where I used to work, and it was called the Monkey Mesa, and and that's because it's really sad. But when they were trying to figure out how to get us home safely from space, they had a testing center there where they would test the parachutes on monkeys and fling them off the edge.
Oh my God.
It's so sad.
With like a trampoline down there or something? Or
no,
like
just like a parachute to see if it worked.
All right, monkey, it's your time.
Yeah. Isn't that super sad?
It's so sad. Like, what? Did it work?
I guess so, because we got to the moon and back, so allegedly, I guess.
We can thank the Monkey Mesa for our trip to the moon.
Yeah, things you didn't know.
That's beautiful. Oh, God.
But when you talk about mesas, I think about Monkey Mesa.
Oh, my God. Okay. Never knew that piece of history, and I'm definitely looking that up, and that's going to consume the rest of my day, I'm pretty sure, because I'm about to go down the rabbit hole. That's very, very interesting to me. I never knew that. Thank you. Thank you so much for that. Yes. That'll consume the rest of my day.
I got a lot of random facts up in here, up in this dome.
Yeah, there you go. Happy Labor Day, by the way. We're working on Labor Day. Happy
Labor Day. Yes. We were discussing different times to record this podcast, and Ty was like, "Do you want to do tomorrow?" And I was like, "Yeah, I don't have to work. We can record tomorrow at whatever time you want." And he was like, "Well, it's a holiday that I don't really celebrate." And I was like, "How do you celebrate Labor Day? Do you like give birth all day?"
Yeah, I don't know what is Labor Day. Isn't it like you're celebrating workers or something? Or I don't know what it actually is.
Maybe
I've lived in the United States my entire life. I confess to the people of the United States. I've lived here my entire life. Still don't know what the point of Labor Day is or why we do it, except that it's just an excuse to take a day off and have a national holiday and pretend like we're being celebrated, while we continuously replace human jobs with AI and robots.
Maybe one day it'll get called the AI Day.
Oh my gosh, where they all take a day off and like we all fall to pieces because we don't know how to take care of ourselves anymore. That's great.
No. That sounds like a good start of a movie, man.
I know, right? I just saw Afraid in theaters. I don't know if you've seen that one advertised.
I have not.
It's kind of a well-treaded sort of topic, but like they bring in this Alexa type, but it's like a super advanced type of Alexa, and they bring it into their home, and then of course it starts taking care of everything in the house, and then everything on their life, and then everything that they're doing online, and like it just becomes a horror movie, gradually over time. But like. It's so funny that we have so many movies that are warnings of like why we shouldn't rely on AI, and we continuously make those. I mean, ever since I don't know how long these been made, but I remember like Terminator back in the day. And then I remember, Alien, and then like there's so many different other movies that came up past that point where like AI always goes awry. AI always something always happens. But yeah, we continuously are chasing down these trends of creating more and more AI. Then we make them smarter and more reflective, and then more intrusive, and then it steals from more people's arts, and then it's insane. To where there's like in Chicago, there's this. I don't know if you've heard about those. They're self-driving cars, right? So basically, you call kind of like a Lyft, and so you have an app, and I can't remember what it's called. Waymo is what they're called. You call up your car, you say, hey, I want to take a trip from the spot that I'm in over to, this hotel or this restaurant. And so the car drives itself. There's nobody in it. It drives itself up, parks next to you. You hit unlock on your app. It unlocks the door. You walk in, and then like this little AI sort of talks to you. And, thank you for taking a Waymo. For the best ride, you need to buckle up. Blah, 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 and like talks you all the way through it. But then it comes up, and then it stops and drops you off. And yeah, it's kind of crazy. Yeah,
That's. I grew up a Stargate kid. I don't know if you're familiar with that show.
Stargate Kid. No.
Well, no. I like my family. It was like a show that was like a staple in my family. It's pretty nerdy to talk about. Oh, you were a
Stargate kid. Okay, gotcha.
Yeah,
gotcha.
yeah.
No, Stargate. I remember the first movie. James Spader loved that. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, the show goes into all these different communities and worlds. It's like them exploring all these different worlds. And I'm showing my nerd. I feel embarrassed all
Good. No, this is the place to show that. I promise you.
But there's like one society that they live in this dome that was made by a computer that was like their Earth was about to like release some toxic gas. So these scientists made a dome for them to live in and like for them to save the whole world. Well, then several generations later, like everyone is connected to this dome by like a piece that's like on their brain. And like they come in and visit these people and they're like, hey, they sit down and they're like, welcome, we're so excited that you're here. We have much to learn from you. And then they have like a feast and then they all go to bed and they wake up in the morning and like some people are missing. And they're like, why are the people missing? And they're like, what people are you talking about? And so this is a specific episode, but then so then it turns out that the computer was like connected to their brain, made them forget about the people, and then made the people like leave the dome because the computer was failing, and it like it didn't have the resources to keep all those people alive, so it was just like killing the people. Isn't that crazy? Well, I just spoiled the episode for everyone, but that's what that reminds me of.
How old that episode is, but yeah, you just spoiled it. 20 something years ago. No, yeah, that's. I mean, I don't know. Yeah, it's a thing. We could absolutely get there, or we could not absolutely get there. But like the rate of like, how long? You know, I looked at. You know, you ever seen Three Body Problem? I know we're talking like TV and stuff now. But Three Body Problem was a show that was on Netflix and stuff. It started off pretty good and interesting, and then by the end of the series I didn't like it at all, but it did raise some interesting things where it's like, you know, human society, how many years did we exist on Earth before we came up with the, you know, atomic bomb, right? And so it's debatable, but like, you know, the thousands and thousands and thousands of years, you know what I mean, that we existed, and then we went from atomic bomb to, you know, a communication beyond radio, and then we moved on to cell phones, and like every time we make these huge you know, leaps in technology, like it's a shorter and shorter gap between those. And so to now where we have this, you know, like the AI stuff that's going on right now, but the amount of things that we're using computers and AI for it just continues to grow. More artists are having to fight for their work to not be consumed and be reused inside of these types of programs, and you know, everything from writing to people who have, you know, spent their lives scraping for information on, you know, Mesopotamian, you know, populations from back in the day. You know what I mean? Like they spent their work researching this stuff, and then like just the computer just absorbs that and then like reuses it, spits it out, usually incorrectly, but it's so crazy that all this stuff is, you know, collectively happening. But I don't know what the next leap is. I even saw some different some podcasts like services that are available now, to where you can have it look at some of your episodes, like you give it express permission to watch your episodes, right? Especially video. And it will, like the way I'm talking and moving and my mannerisms and the way I raise my voice and come down low, like it'll look at all that stuff and how I react to people, and it can create its own script, make its own video, make my voice sound exactly like I would say it in real life, and then like you've got a whole episode that was completely generated by AI and put out there, and like it'll create its own title and description.
I saw a meme once, and it was like, I don't mean to talk about religion or whatever, but the existence of AI made me start believing in souls. Because, like, there's just one piece, like, you can make all kinds of stuff. Like, maybe it'll get more advanced to the point where it can mimic that. The human piece of it, but right now when we see stuff for AI, there's just like one little piece of like human soul that is missing from those kinds of productions. And so,
no, for sure.
But maybe not in the next 5 years. Maybe it'll learn and be able to mimic that.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, like, if I don't know, I think there's a huge piece that's missing if you don't have that human element. You know, if you don't have that originality and allow for the small things, like your phone going off while ago, right? That's a human thing that happens to us. And so if you're making a completely clean, uninterrupted, episode where everything went completely smooth and everything, like, that's not reality. You know what I mean? And if we're teaching our brains to accept that's what reality is, it's going to be so much harder for us to live life, because that's not it. Life is chaos. And so when those chaotic moments happen and we've already trained ourselves to be programmed against it, like, it's going to break us. You know what I mean? It's so much harder to deal with those types of situations.
Yeah.
So,
well,
anyway, I'll go with my soapbox.
That's what my podcast is. Like, I don't do any editing at all.
And that's my podcast.
It's genuine human connection. We roll with whatever mistakes happen. The other day, a couple episodes, it got published twice. I don't know. Like, I don't know how to fix that.
Yeah.
But anyway, so it just happens. Like, and real life. And being a real life friend is what my podcast is about. And what I strive to give to the people.
Awesome. Yeah. Hey, you've been helping organize and plan for Ourcast in Northwest, right?
Yes.
What are you most excited about?
I am most excited about meeting other creators and like just having conversations with people that are like, oh, I encounter this problem every day. Like, what is something that you did to get past this hurdle? What is something here's something that I did to get past this hurdle. Like, having that share space where we all are like experiencing similar things, and like having a chance to like meet other people that are in the same boat as you. So that is the thing that I'm the most excited about. And just like being in a room with a bunch of people that are excited about the same thing that I am.
Awesome. Yeah, I'm really excited about that as well. And people coming in from nationally to be able to collaborate and to talk to other people. Yeah.
What's the thing that you're the most excited about?
I don't know. What is the most I'm excited about? I get the most excited about these events, Ourcast. So it's like the height of my excitement, because I'm usually running around trying to make sure that everything is going the way it needs to. The speakers are on stage. The microphones are great. Okay, for like the next 15 minutes, these people are good because the mic is strong. Everybody can hear. There's a crowd gathered around them. The host is there. He knows what's next. Okay, I go over here, the podcasting booth or whatever we have going on, and on the other places. Okay, they've got people coming in. They're getting recorded. Everything's going great. They're laughing. They're smiling. I'm going over to the vendor booths. Vendors are all taken care of. They're good. If I see one that doesn't have anybody over there at their table, I will go grab somebody and bring them over to this table and make the introduction. And taking care of the green room, like the VIP section, right? So where all those people are. If there's anybody there, if they need drinks, if they need, making sure that somebody's taking care of them. Making sure that we are recording on all the cameras and that we're capturing all the audio. Like, there's just so much to every single part of this, but there's always like a 2-minute gap in there somewhere, like intravenously. There's like a 2-minute gap every once in a while where I get to just stand back in the corner and I'm not part of anything. And I just sort of take a, objective point of view of everything and just watch it. And if I, being able to see this whole, the organism operate the way that it does, you know what I mean? Like there's an ecology to it, right? So like, all these things are happening at the same time, and everyone seems to be enjoying themselves. People are interacting and all this stuff, and it's all because the work that we put into it ahead of time. You know what I mean? To make sure that we planned all this work, all this going out and asking people for, hey, will you come speak, or will you come sponsor? Will you come bring your table? Will come talk about your stuff? Hey, and then you guys come buy a ticket. Come in, come, talk about what you're doing. Try to collaborate with people. Try to, share an experience together. So whatever happens, like it seems chaotic that months and months and months and months and months and months and months of planning that happen into a single event where all these people are here on the exact same time in the exact same place. All of them are getting a different experience, but it's a collective experience at the same time, and be able to sit back there and like really enjoy that. That's my favorite part. That's what I always look forward to.
Sounds like the satisfaction of a plan coming together.
Yeah, and just like appreciating the chaos that had to happen to get there, because like I don't pretend that like, oh yeah, all this happened because I had a dream and I had a vision and this is why all this stuff happened. Like, yeah, I do have a vision for this stuff, but it rarely ever works out the same way that I have it envisioned. But like, I appreciate it, and I'm open to the changes and the chaos that comes from it. You know what I mean? But it's like organized chaos that happens. Yeah, and then having a planning committee this year and having you guys help, that's been amazing. And I don't know, collectively, we had a group of people that helps to get this larger group of people together to have hopefully make memories and share things and grow their careers. And so like, this is a turning point for them, and this is a great thing that we helped make happen.
Basically, you make it sound like we're like podcast Avengers, like the Avengers are assembling.
Yeah, I mean, in that way, yeah, we are. I mean, we were definitely champions of podcasting, right? So, I think like medieval times, right? So there was always, if one kingdom was going to go to bat against the world, or a different, challenging kingdom, they would always have their champions. We're not up against anybody, but but there's always, I guess we're, I don't know, podcast evangelists, however you want to put it. You know what I mean?
Yes.
We're spreading the gospel of creativity and breaking people out of their own, self-doubt or imposter syndrome or whatever it is, so they can create, amazing things and share it with the world. Like you were talking about how, most of your listeners are probably, based locally, or like you may be aiming your podcast at that, but like it's so crazy how, like I host Long Term, which is about recovery, substance abuse recovery, but like lately, like it had a huge uptick. I couldn't figure out where it was coming from. I was like, this is so strange. And up until that point, I had only had people that were like around the Arkansas area listening to it, but like in my analytics, it showed that I had a lot more UK listeners now. And I was like, why are they? It's so, but you just never know. Like I heard so many stories about that, where like you put your podcast out there, and even if it's a local type of focus, you never know where your listeners are going to come from, because I guess there's a lot of people like me where, if I go to a place like, I love Texas, right? So I always loved going to Tyler, Texas. And so I will, even though I'm in Arkansas, I will watch their morning news, because I like feeling like I'm part of that place and knowing more about it. And like, it's just, I don't know, it's kind of a mini vacation in a way. You know what I mean? And then I'll watch LA's news, and then I'll watch, something from over here. But like, I guess there's other people in the world where they're like, they just want to know, like, I don't know, it makes you feel like you've gone to that place whenever you're hearing about the real things that they're dealing with, and like what are what are the conversation pieces.
It's interesting. I like it.
Yeah.
One of the things that I do that's similar to that is I'll go on like the Snapchat map and then just go look at the like highlighted stories of an area sometimes. Or I'll go on Instagram search and I'll just put in that city and just scroll through the Instagram search of like what those people are posting. Yeah.
Listen, you're filling my day up with all kinds of tasks of things. I got to look off the Monkey Mesa and the Instagram.
Yeah, the Instagram search page, man.
Instagram search page.
So many wonderful things in my life have come from the Instagram search page.
That's awesome. Okay, Charlie. Well, I won't keep you for very much longer. So thank you for taking the time to sit here and chat with me about all things.
Absolutely.
We went from Arkansas to Stargate to just everywhere in between.
Yes, that is well, I mean, this is just a small taste of what my podcast is like. We just have a conversation about something and it turns into something else. And if that's your vibe, you can go to sleepoverpod.com and find a listening link.
Sleepoverpod.com. Awesome. And I assume because you mentioned those other social media platforms that you're probably on them.
I'm on them, but I am not the best at updating them as much as I should. I know. So I am on Instagram, and you can shoot your shot and try to get on my show if you want or whatever.
Wow,
just like like I did for Ty all those many moons ago. I my inbox is open, and I also have like ways to connect with me on my website too. So the place that you're going to be able to get my content the easiest is at the website.
Yeah.
Because it has direct links to like Spotify, Apple, YouTube, all of those.
Well, they can see you in person and live at Ourcast 2024, the Podcast Festival in Fayetteville, Arkansas, November 14th through the 16th. So starting off with the Ourcast Awards, and then 2 full days of speakers and workshops, and then we're going to end it all with a podcast pitch contest with a huge prize package for the winner of that. What were you going to say? You looked like you had something to say.
Well, I was just going to say you can also see me at Pod Circle every fourth Thursday.
That's right.
If you are a content creator in Northwest Arkansas, come to the Fayetteville Public Library at 6 p.m. and on every fourth Thursday, unless there's something going on with the building. And I recently made a web page for it, so I can send Ty the link for that to go in the show notes. So awesome. It'll have the updated page of like where Pod Circle will be at that particular time. Great. Or any other important updates.
Any other important updates, yes. Because sometimes we have to change venues, and sometimes, some other things happen that we can't really plan for.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Yeah. Okay, awesome. Well, thank you, Charlie. Have a great rest of your Labor Day. I know you're on pool duty at some point today, and that sounds interesting. I've got more episodes to record today and to get it out, and yeah, fun times. You can find tickets to any of our upcoming events. Like I said, Ourcast Podcast Festival is happening across different venues and cities and different times and dates, and each one of them with a different focus. And so we've got a Spanish-speaking podcast festival date coming up on September 19th. We've got, first of all, the kickoff, which is a full day here in Little Rock at the Delta Hotels on September 14th. And then we've got the Halloween live podcast recording at Ron Robinson Theater in Little Rock. That's going to be happening on October 16th. It's hard to keep all these dates correct.
You need a cheat sheet.
And then we're doing an appreciation at the Ravington up in your area in Centerton, Arkansas. We've got that place rented, and we're going to be celebrating just podcasting in general. Black tie event. Everybody come out, just enjoy yourself. Completely free. And then we've got the November 14th through 16th, which is the Ourcast podcast, the big one for 3 days.
That will also be at the Fayetteville Public Library.
That will be at the Fayetteville Public Library. You are correct, and that is going to be brought to you in partnership with Experience Fayetteville. By the way, I've got to mention that this podcast is sponsored by riverside.fm. You can go there, you can sign up and get these really cool recording tools that we're using right now in this very moment. Mm-hmm. It's exciting. Yeah,
yep.
And you usually
I use
Riverside,
it for
right?
my podcast. Yeah, that's what I use for my podcast. I go through phases where I love it, and there's things that I love about it. There's pros and cons to everything, but it is the best one for recording remotely, like with someone that's not in the room with you. I think that's the best way to go.
Awesome. Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I'm really enjoying it. We've made the switch from a different platform to this one, and I'm really enjoying all the tools, and I'm still learning all the different things that it does. Mm-hmm. But it makes a lot of the tedious stuff that I usually have to do with the podcast so much easier.
Yes.
Yeah, for sure.
As a creator, it does have some really awesome tools.
Yeah, for sure. All right, Charlie. Thank you so much again, and to everybody listening and watching. We will see you later. You want to say bye?
Yeah, I was just going to say thank you for having me on. I appreciate being here.
Yeah, no problem at all. And you'll hear plenty from Charlie in the coming future. I'm sure all these dates and things going on in the pod circles. It's awesome that you're putting those on.
Yes. Well, thank you for having me, and thank you for letting me be a part of it.
Absolutely, no problem at all. Okay, we will catch you all later on the next episode.
Yep. Okay, bye.